family picture of happier times. In stark contrast to today's reality, when the tears just don't stop. On October 26th, Renuka's husband, Shankaraya, drank pesticide on his dried up field, unable to face moneylenders who had lent him 3 lakh rupees to grow crops that repeatedly failed. The family lives in Gajwal in Medak district, which is ironically Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's constituency.
Deskunte వద్దని కాపాడినా కానీ ఆయన వినలేదు. ఇక ఆ బాధ తట్టుకోలేక నన్ను కాదా నన్ను నేను ఎంత కాపాడినా ఆత్మహత్య చేసుకొని ఈ పని చేసి నన్ను ఈ బాధ పెట్టిను. నన్ను నా బతుకు బయట ఏం లేదు, మీరే ఎట్లా చేసినా మీరే నన్ను మీరు ఎవరు కాపాడుతున్నా నేనేనో బతకగలుగుతా కానీ నాకు అంత తప్పి ఏది లేదు. మీ దండము, నా పిల్లలు నన్ను చూసి మీరు ఏమైనా చేయాలి. నాకు బతుకమ్మలు ఆదుకుంటూ లేరు.
Gajwal's tragedy is that despite being a VIP constituency, farm distress is at a peak. In KCR's home district of Medak, 64 farmers have killed themselves this Kharif season, the second highest in Telangana after Warangal that has recorded 83 suicides.
These are the killing fields of Telangana, where disappointment is the dominant emotion, where these dried up crops, thanks to scarce irrigation facilities, inadequate rainfall and dried up borewells, have turned India's youngest state into a countryside of dead farmers and homes of mourning.
In a nearby village of Gajwal, this 6-month-old baby was named Varshini by her parents as a prayer to the rain gods. But both rainfall and 2 borewells failed Kondaiya. The cotton and maize crop withered away. The 30-year-old farmer, burdened by a loan of 4 lakh rupees, drank pesticide last month, leaving his widow Swapna to fend for herself and her 2 children.
4 లక్షలు అప్పు తెచ్చిండు. అవి పంట గురించి పెట్టిండు. పెట్టుబడికి కూడా వెళ్ళతట్లే అని చేనుల వయసు వచ్చి ఆగిండు. 4 లక్షలు అప్పు అయింది.
120 kilometers away in Nalgonda district, Parvati Amma says the same land that her son had banked his hopes on has now swallowed him. 35-year-old Sathi Reddy consumed pesticide on Gandhi Jayanti.
మా కోడలు ఒక్కతే మేము మసలాలం, మాకు చేత కాదు, నడువులు లేవు. ఏమరా ఎవరైనా ఎంత సాయం చేస్తే మాకు మంచిగా ఉంటుంది. ఏం చేస్తారో ఏం సాయం చేస్తారో ఎట్లా బతుకో మొత్తం చేత కాదు. మా అబ్బాయి వెళ్ళడం అనలేదు కానీ
5 months ago, the farmers hoped that the dream of a golden Telangana that KCR sold to them would result in 8-hour quality power supply, water for irrigation, crop loan and loan waiver. Each suicide in the last 5 months in India's youngest state has been a blot on that promise.
What is worse, it is as if the ignorant farmers have been lured to commit suicide, with the Agriculture Ministry of Telangana state virtually abdicating its responsibility.
A gamble, that too not based on an informed choice, it's based on the hearsay and the campaigns carried out by the industry. So for example, if you look at, if you go and ask any cotton farmer, they'll say somebody got 14 quintals, so I'll also try and get 14 quintals. But you don't find a farmer who got 14 quintals in the entire Adilabad district in the last 3-4 years. So a kind of a market which is set in, the seed companies push for certain crops which give them more benefits.
To add insult to injury, TRS leaders are calling the suicide figures fudged, even though FIRs lodged by the state police clearly mention farm distress and indebtedness as the main reasons for such suicide deaths.
The Telugu Desam and Congress party unnecessarily they are blaming and they are showing the number big, but their suicides are very less. We are regularly we are following.
Farm distress in Telangana is not new. According to estimates, nearly 26,000 farmers have committed suicide in the last 20 years in Telangana. So no one expected KCR to possess a magic wand that would help him make the problems inherited from previous regimes vanish in 5 months.
But what has upset the farmers the most is that there has not been one word from KCR telling the farmers not to kill themselves, assuring them that he is there for them. Instead of delivering compassionate governance, KCR has spent his time blaming everyone else for it.
Converting the rural distress into a political battle, KCR has trained his guns at Chandrababu Naidu, accusing him of not sharing power with power deficit Telangana.
Andhra Pradesh Mukhyamantri Chandrababu Naidu కరెంటు రాకుండా చేసి మనకు వచ్చే వాటా ఇవ్వకుండా చేసి తెలంగాణ పంటలు ఎండగొట్టాలని చెప్పి శపథం పట్టుకొని కంకణం కట్టుకొని ప్రయత్నం చేస్తూ ఉన్నాడు. ఆయన మాయలో పడ్డటువంటి కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం మనకు అన్యాయం చేయడానికి ముందుకు పోతా ఉన్నది.
By pouring vitriol on Naidu, KCR has tried to take the attention away from the agrarian crisis at hand and make it seem that the Chief Minister of the neighbouring state is responsible for the 350 suicides since June.
On the contrary, a net inflow of 713 million units of power has gone from Andhra Pradesh to Telangana in excess of what ought to have gone to Telangana as per the IP Reorganization Act 2014.
उससे पहले उन्होंने कहा कि करंट का कोई शॉर्टेज नहीं रहेगा. इधर छत्तीसगढ़ है, बीच में गोदावरी है, ये तेलंगाना है. 4 खंबे डालो, खींच के ला लो. यानी बचकानी बातें कि कोई उनको ना तजर्बेकारी है या फिर जो जिस तरीके से एजुटेशन के अंदर जो लेवल में बात करते हैं अभी भी अपना माइंडसेट उसी टाइप में बात कर रहे हैं जो नहीं होने वाली चीज़ को होने में बताते हैं.
But it is not as if the farmers in the Telangana countryside are blind to the political games being played over their dead bodies.
KCR Telangana బంగారు తెలంగాణను తెస్తా అన్నారు. బంగారు తెలంగాణ రాలేదు. రైతులకు సమస్యలు ఉన్నాయి. 7 గంటల కరెంట్ ఇస్తున్నారు. 7 గంటలలో అది ఇచ్చేది 6 గంటలు గిట అప్పుడు ఇంత ఇచ్చి రైతులకు పారింది గిట వాడతలేదు పొలం గిట. వర్షాలు లేక రుణమాఫీ అని చెప్పిండు. మేము బయట అప్పులు తెచ్చి కట్టుకున్నాం. రుణమాఫీ బ్యాంకులో పోతే రేపు రా ఎల్లిండ్రా అది ఏది మాఫీ లేదు ఏం లేదు. 25% మీరు రీషెడ్యూల్ చేసుకోండి అది చేసుకోండి. కార్డులు ఇవ్వాలి. ఇంతవరకు మాకు ఇది రైతులకు కార్డు ఇస్తానన్నారు కదా, కార్డు ఇంతవరకు ఇవ్వలే. కార్డు ఇవ్వలేదు, ఏమి ఇవ్వలేదు ఇంతవరకు.
But the immediate priority is to save farmer lives. That it is an emergency-like situation can be gauged by this meeting, taking place ironically at a dried-up paddy field. These farmers are being counselled by an NGO not to kill themselves, however difficult the situation may be, because the despair, as this young farmer articulates, is extreme.
సార్ ఇక్కడ ఎండిపోయిన పొలాలు చూస్తే ఒక ఎకరానికి ఒక రైతు పెట్టేది 15,000 నుంచి 20,000 దాకా పెట్టుబడి సార్. ప్రతి పెట్టుబడి పెడితే ఈరోజు మిగిలింది కంకి సార్. ఈ కంకి తింటే జీరో ఇది ఎందుకంటే ఇది 1000 రూపాయలకు కూడా ఈ దీనికి ఇక్కడ లేదు. జీరో అంటారు, 3rd class 4th class అంటారు మేము పండించే పంటకు. అది సార్ ఇక్కడ.
We are expected much, but still now neither Chief Minister nor Prime Minister talked about the farmer suicides of Telangana. Because when 700 farmers committed suicides in Telangana this year, no other issue is this much serious. This is to be attended on top priority than any other. Then only Bangaru Telangana, Golden Telangana will form.
The point is, before KCR attains the Midas touch to enable the creation of a golden Telangana, he will need to apply the healing touch. KCR often says that he is a farmer and knows his onions. On the other side of the break, we will look at the problem areas and how this difficult situation can be overcome.
It is just over a week since Avinash cremated his father's body in Cheriyal in Warangal district. 38-year-old Dasamanth Reddy committed suicide on October 28th. With repeated crop failure and poor remunerative prices, This farmer's debt had grown to 6 lakh rupees. When both cotton and paddy on his 2-acre field dried up this season, he gave up. 15-year-old Avinash says he hopes neither he nor anyone else in his family ever becomes a farmer.
If I become farmer, it will be totally lost, and I should develop my family. Me only to develop my family. So I don't want to become farmer.
You don't think with agriculture, with farming, you can develop and support your family?
No, sir. It will be totally lost. So I don't want to become farmer. I should do any job or something work outside.
Reddy was the second farmer to kill himself in the family. His elder brother too had taken the extreme step a couple of years ago, unable to handle farm distress. His son Ravindra too has opted out of agriculture.
ఏదైనా చేయాలి ఉద్దేశంతో చదివించారు మమ్మల్ని. అలాంటిది ఇద్దరు కుటుంబ పెద్దలు చనిపోయారు. మేము వ్యవసాయం చేయలేని పరిస్థితి ఉంది సార్ మాకు కూడా. వాళ్ళు చేసి అలసిపోయే వాళ్ళు జీవితాలను కోల్పోయారు. అదే వ్యవసాయాన్ని నమ్ముకొని మేము ఎట్లా బతకగలుగుతాం సార్ ఇప్పుడు? ఏదన్నా బయటికి వెళ్ళి ఏదన్నా జాబ్ కానీ.
Avinash and Ravindra are not the only ones born in farming families opting out of it. Census data of 2011 reveals that 13.68 lakh farmers quit agriculture in United Andhra Pradesh in the first decade of the 21st century. That means every day 375 farmers are giving up agriculture. Rather, they are being pushed out of farms, not into greener pastures and sustainable livelihood options, but to become unskilled daily wage laborers on construction sites, living a marginal, insecure existence.
The migration which is happening is a distress migration. In the last 10 years, if you look at people who migrated from agriculture are getting into much worse areas. They're becoming contract labor in construction sector.
In the last decade, 60 lakh of the 91 lakh farmers in Telangana have turned from cultivators into agricultural workers because growing crops has become an unsustainable livelihood option.
ఆర్థిక పరిస్థితి ఏం పంట ఇప్పుడు 1 ఎకరం 2 ఎకరాలు పెట్టుకునేది 10 గుంటలు వారలేదు. 10 గుంటలు వారలేదంటే ఏమన్నా పెట్టుబడి వెళ్తుందా? ఇంట్లో పిల్లల చదువు, మనకు ఇంట్లో సంసారం వెళ్ళాలంటే వెళ్ళలేకపోతుంది. వెళ్ళలేకపోయి చాలా ఇబ్బందులు పడుతోళ్ళుండ్రు. ఆ ఇబ్బందుల వల్ల తట్టుకోలేక అప్పులు అవుతుండే. అప్పు చేసినాం, ఈసారి కారు పంట వస్తుందేమో అప్పు తీర్పుకుందాం అన్న ఆలోచన మీద ఉండే. అప్పు తీర్పుకునే ఆలోచన లేనప్పుడు ఏంది మేము ఇంత చేసినాం కదా, మేము అప్పు తీర్పలేకపోతున్నాం, వాళ్ళు వచ్చి మమ్మల్ని అడుగుతారు, మేము ఏం చేయగలుగుతాం, ఇంత ఇస వేసుకొని చచ్చినా బాగుండేది అన్నట్టుగా ఏదో ఇంత మందు తాగడమో దానివల్ల చాలా మంది బలికొంటుండ్రు.
One reason for that is that even when there is a good produce, the prices are not remunerative and it's always a hand-to-mouth existence. There is little hope that even a good produce can help a farmer get out of years of accumulated indebtedness.
Despite promises before elections, even the BJP government has failed to implement the Swaminathan Commission report on remunerative prices that said produce should cover cost plus 50%. In fact, as against recommendations made by the state government for 7,000 rupees per quintal for cotton, the centre declared a minimum support price of 4,100 rupees. For paddy, the state had recommended 3,000 rupees, but the centre declared 1,400 rupees.
80% of the farmers' financial condition is controlled by the union government decisions and 20% are controlled by the state government. Union government, what it has to do is, it has to link invariably the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme with the for all agricultural labor-oriented programs, first one. Next, it has to fix profitable price to their produce. Third, they should introduce a farmer-friendly crop insurance.
The other big concern is that farmers have moved away from traditionally drought-resistant rain-fed crops like millets or even pulses and are instead growing the water-intensive and input-expensive crops like paddy and cotton opening themselves to huge risks.
The requirement for irrigation is increasing because of the shift towards water sensitive crop. That's exactly what I was trying to say. In the same kind of drought situation, if the farmers had a pulse crop or if they had a millet crop, failure would have been far lower. Since it is rice, since it is cotton, since it is maize, the failure is higher.
Most farmers borrow money from private money lenders, since bank credit doesn't cover their needs and hardly ever comes on time. This year, uncertainty over loan waiver schemes announced by the government meant no farmer got any agriculture credit this Kharif season. Narayan, a moneylender in Nalgonda, admits cash, even on high interest rates, had ready takers.
Government is not giving sufficient support to the agriculturists and farmers, so that farmers are approaching the money lenders, local money lenders. For that, they are taking the money. For that, they are paying 2% of the interest to the money lenders. So it is very difficult and problematic to the farmers.
Even last year, of the 23,000 crore rupees disbursed by banks to farmers as crop loan, only 23 crore rupees went to tenant farmers, who constitute 75% of the farmers in Telangana who grow crops on land taken on lease. Farmer federations have been harping on the need for the centre to ensure availability of public credit, reliable and reasonably priced inputs, and a remunerative price for output.
Please set right your market. Please prepare your extension system efficiently. Please prepare your banking system, insurance system efficiently.
The fear now is about the Rabi season in Telangana, where sowing should have ideally set in by now.
Sowing for Rabi crops has taken place in only 40% of the area. After such a bad Kharif experience, farmers are apprehensive about sowing seeds in the Rabi season. Paucity of water and electricity is also pushing farmers to the edge.
Rabi season lo water sources ledu, saripona varshalu leka ledu. ఏమన్నా పశుగ్రాసం పశువులు పోకుండా దానికోసం పశుగ్రాసం పెట్టుకొని పశువుల కాపాడుకోవడం ఒకటి. ఇప్పుడు వచ్చే కొద్దిపాటి పంట మళ్ళీ లోన్ ఏమన్నా తక్కువ ఉన్నా అంతవరకు క్లియర్ చేసి మళ్ళీ ఏమైనా రెన్యువల్ చేసుకోవడమా లేకపోతే ఎట్లా అనేది ఆ బ్యాంక్ వాళ్ళని కన్సల్టింగ్ చేసుకొని.
With so many farmer suicide deaths and widespread crop loss, it is an air of funeral mourning across many villages of Telangana today. In Narketpalli, Naveen Reddy is performing the 11th day rites of his father, Ramakrishna Reddy, who consumed pesticide on Diwali. Reddy's 2 days in hospital only added to the family's debt of 3 lakh rupees. The son sees little reason to hope.
మాకైతే టీఆర్ఎస్ గవర్నమెంట్ నుండి ఇంతవరకు ఫండ్స్ ఏం అందలేదు. మా నాన్నకి ఇట్లా ఊర్లో టీఆర్ఎస్ అధ్యక్షుడు. మొన్న ఎమ్మెల్యే గారు వచ్చిపోయారు అంతే, లోకల్ ఎమ్మెల్యే వేముల వీరేశం గారు వచ్చిపోయారు. మొన్న మా తమ్ముడు నల్గొండ యాక్టివ్ అక్కడ పనిచేస్తాడు, అయితే నీకు ఏదన్నా గవర్నమెంట్ జాబ్ వచ్చేటట్టు చూస్తున్నాడు. ఇంకా మాకైతే నమ్మకం లేదు గవర్నమెంట్ మీద, ఎందుకంటే చేసేదైతే ఎమ్మటే చేయాలి. ఇప్పుడు ఇంకా రోజు రోజు అయితే కొద్దిగా మర్చిపోయినట్టే ఉంటుంది.
Over 350 suicide deaths by farmers is a bleak statistic for India's young state of Telangana that was born amidst huge hope for change. Both the state government and the centre have a responsibility to look into what has changed the land of hope into fields of death for the farmer who feeds the country.